Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR 25 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go road racing for the first time this season with Junior Motorsports, and this is a track where I am expected to perform to excellence, of course, given our road racing background, and I aim to do exactly that this weekend. And I had the pleasure to share some very exciting news this weekend. Well, next episode is Phoenix, and in 2026, IndyCar and NASCAR are doing a doubleheader weekend, with IndyCar being on Saturday and the NASCAR Cup Series being on Sunday. Well, we have been able to work out a deal with McLaren to get me in one of their extra cars to do the race at Phoenix in IndyCar. So I will be doing the IndyCar NASCAR doubleheader next weekend, getting behind the wheel for the first time in our Cup Series career of an IndyCar. We have, of course, been all over the place of driving different vehicles, and over the off-season we did the 24 Hours of Daytona. We as well did another Supercars race in Adelaide, and as we have kind of gotten through being a rookie, we are really looking to expand our resume of, showing what NASCAR drivers can do in different types of motorsports, and it all kicks off with IndyCar next episode, but that is far from the end. We've got plenty more on the way. Of course, dirt racing and some surprises in the mix, as well as SVG topped the board in practice. We were at the bottom of the leaderboard, but I also didn't really put up my potential, of what I had in my lap there. So I knew we were going to be in good shape here, as we got the Boost Energy colors on our car this weekend, and we come through into qualifying now, and really just aiming for top 15 or so. I know qualifying isn't going to be easy here on these road courses. I do struggle a little bit for one lap pace, even with my expertise on these road tracks. So really just top 15 is kind of what I'm aiming for now, as we come towards the now backside of the circuit, where it gets a little bit more technical after going through the S's early on here and finding some decent pace. I was pretty happy with how the lap was going as we're rolling up to the back of the RB's 51 of Cody Ware, and we'll get right to the back bumper of him. He just about held me up. He might have held me up by like a tenth or so, but we get by him pretty easily here, and we can focus in on the rest of this lap in this JRM number 15 Chevrolet here now as we come through the final couple of corners. At this point, just 2 corners remain. One thing I didn't realize, I knew the layout was wrong of this track compared to real life, but they also have the finish line in the complete wrong spot in the game. So as we exit the final turn, the finish line is, hold on, right here, where it's supposed to be at the big bridge there in the distance. So never even noticed that until now, but we ended up having SVG on pole over Christopher Bell, and unfortunately didn't quite meet my personal goal of a top 15, and instead we qualified in the 20th position, as you see the rest of your qualifying order. So we got our work cut out for us here coming into this weekend, and first road course race with Junior Motorsports, and I know this is probably going to be the most difficult road course race of the season, because it's the first race with Chevrolet for us on a road course. It's the first race with JRM on a road course, new team. We got to kind of figure each other out a little bit here, and that's kind of what today is all about. And then come Sonoma and Chicago and Watkins Glen and Charlotte Roval, those are the tracks we expect to be really fighting for wins. So I have tempered my expectations, and we're quite simply aiming for a top 10 here this weekend in COTA, as we are ready to go. Green flag is out. We're racing from Circuit of the Americas, which has quickly become a staple road course race on the NASCAR calendar, especially since the configuration change. Now, as we head down into turn 1 behind the number 2 of the Penske's Austin Cindric, they're 3 wide in front of us now, and we just kind of settle in here alongside Ryan Preece. Will split through the middle there, bit of contact with the 2, the 60 on my left, the 2 on my right, as we continue into the S's now. We're still side by side there with the 60 of Preece, and Cindric's able to get through now. Hard racing right off the bat, as Christopher Bell has gotten out to the early lead here in COTA, as now Carson Hocevar is able to get at my inside. We're struggling on the start here, and a bit of contact on the back of the 77. That pushes me wide into the really tight and awkward section for restarts, and we unfortunately are going to drop down to 24th. So a net loss here of 4 spots on this opening lap here in COTA, unfortunately. So now we got our work cut out for us, but I know we got good speed. It's just, yeah, I mean, we ran it really bad first half a lap right there. It just kind of was all over the place now, and really instead of being on attack mode, I was kind of on defense, and it didn't really go very well. But we passed the 6, and we're immediately going to fire one up the inside of not only the 99 but the 42 as well, and we'll get alongside Hocevar briefly. Nemechek's able to keep it to my right side as we'll head through the long right-hand sweeper now, as Bell is going to come through to complete lap 1 in front of everybody here, including SVG, as we should get the run here on the 77. We clear the 42 back into P21. Bit of a shot to the back of the 71 or 77, moved him out of the way, and we go up into P20. Did not anticipate the checkup from Hocevar. I was not trying to actually hit him, but it worked out for us because we do gain a position, and we're back to where we started here at the end of this first and opening lap, and quickly putting pressure on the Columbia number 23. Bubba Wallace having a decent start to this race, trying to hold me off here, but look at the run we're able to get on the exit of the left-hander. Leaves the door wide open, don't mind if I do. I just slip one up the inside, and we're going to be able to get the position from the 23 of Bubba Wallace and move up into 19th place. And up ahead, you got the Penske duo again of the 2 and the 22. We were just battling with Cindric on that opening lap, and now as we come through to halfway in stage 1 already, only 5 laps here in stage 1, we're going to pull up right to the back of the 2. So definitely got good pace in this car. It's just we didn't put qualifying together, and we didn't put lap 1 together. So I'm 100% certain, if we just kind of keep grinding here, we can get a top 10 here today, as we're gonna look to the right side of the 2 of Cindric and get alongside here into the right-hander, and this will be another spot gain. Hopefully, just gonna have to get the grip on the exit, hard on the throttle. That allows me to clear Cindric, and a run on Logano. We're going to send it a little too far back to send that one, and into the side of the 22. We use him up and get through. Not how I wanted to make that pass, but we do move up into P17 as we continue on with 2 laps to go here in stage number 1. Joey Logano making his feelings heard, saying if he better hope I don't get back to him now, as we've got trouble. The round goes Allmendinger, and we slam it at the back of the 60 of Ryan Preece. We've got damage on the front end, and that brings the aero down to 96%, so only 4% damage, but I can tell you that makes a difference on the handling. My car immediately got significantly tighter, so we're just going to have to hang on to the end of the stage and get some repairs on this thing. And I stayed to the right side of the track because I saw Allmendinger spinning. I thought he was going to spin over to the left. He didn't, and by the time I realized he wasn't going to, I didn't have an opportunity to bail out at that point. So really unfortunate situation. So now we come through to the final lap, and we haven't gone anywhere since that incident. We're stuck now in defense on the 22, and just kind of riding behind Allmendinger at this point, just like I said, bringing it home here in stage number 1. And as we come to the tail end of the lap now, just 1 corner left for the 20 of Christopher Bell, holding off the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen. And through that final turn down the front straightaway, Christopher Bell is going to win the first stage here from COTA, as we'll bring it home for P17. Just at this point waiting for 10th place to cross the line. What should be any second surprise. It's not happened yet. And waiting, there it is now. Caution is out, and we gained 3 spots here in stage 1, but we know we're way better than 17th. So we'll come in, we'll get 4 tires, and mainly the thing we need is just repairs on this number 15 Junior Motorsports Chevrolet. We give up 2 spots as expected, not a surprise there with the repairs. So as we kick off stage 2, we're going to be P19 as the green flag is back out here. We've got 6 laps here in stage 2. Gives us 1 additional lap of racing now on the inside line. Gives us a good opportunity to be aggressive into turn number 1. A lunge up alongside Nemechek, Logano, and others as well. We're going a little bit too deep, sliding into the corner, getting alongside Alex Bowman. That was a huge launch. The space was there. I went for it, but we lose some ground on the exit of turn 1, and we end up 15th out of all that. So you know what? That still worked out pretty well, but now we know we got to be careful on this restart. Huge checkup from the 48. We get into the back of them there, and now we continue side by side through the end of the S's as we'll head towards the back half of the racetrack now. And again, not the restart I'm looking for outside of turn 1. My goodness, everybody is all over each other right now, and Allmendinger's to my left side. That's okay. He can kind of have that line. I feel like I'll get the run run off the corner as long as he doesn't get alongside Alex Bowman. And sure enough, we'll get the run right here. And now we might even have a chance to lunge him one up the inside of the 48. Bowman left the door wide open. Someone's had issues. That's the 19 to Chase Briscoe in front of us. That's gone around. He's gotten it straight, but now everyone's all over each other. We're 3 wide briefly with Busch and Larson. Chaos kicking off here at the tail end of stage 1, and now at the beginning of stage 2. And now we're alongside Kyle Busch as we'll head in towards the sweeper, and he's going to be clear. He goes so wide into the corner, however, then I am able to get back alongside. We're going to drag race here through the sweeper. Can't quite clear him, and that Cheddar Chevrolet, he's going to keep his nose there on my left rear. Blaney checks up. We both catch him in a really awkward spot. We slide wide a little bit now, still side by side with Kyle Busch's SVG is out in front looking for his first win of the season. Wheel to wheel with the 8 on the exit of the final turn. Can't quite make it happen yet. Busch is going to have the run down the front straightaway, and he'll pass us here, and we're going to have to try and get him back in turn 1 or somewhere else now, as Kyle Larson's going to pull up to the back of myself as well as we complete the opening lap, and a wild opening lap here in stage 2 as Kyle Larson's now alongside me. Very briefly though, we get back in front now and right in behind the Cheddar's number 8 of Kyle Busch, and it wasn't long till I was firing one up the inside of the number 8 here for a move now, and as we come through the corner though, Kyle Busch is going to get back in front of me. Unfortunately, just couldn't quite get the car to hook up on the exit. So hold on, he's going to go a little bit wide again. Do we dare go for it? Yes, we do. Back alongside Kyle Busch as we're trying to move up into this 12th position. But again, he's alongside me. Got to leave the room as we kind of try to pinch him there into the corner, but he's just ever so slightly there, but he backs out of it now, so we can finally take the 12th position as Kyle Larson is trying to move through into P13 behind us on the number 8 of Kyle Busch as we look to focus in on Ryan Blaney. Larson did in fact complete the pass. He's up into P13. I think Kyle Larson's a top 6, top 7, top 8 car. He's just kind of got himself back in traffic, and if he gets to me, I'm not really planning to hold him behind me for very long as we continue on at this point, and just waiting for him to kind of approach us for a pass. And as we're coming to 2 laps to go in stage 2, we are gaining quickly on Blaney, looking like we're gonna have to wait for stage 3 to really break into the top 10. But here comes Kyle Larson and the Hendrick Cars Chevrolet as we exit the final turn, a little bit wide right there, and that's gonna really open up the door for the number 5 of Kyle Larson, and not really going to fight this one here as we head down into turn number 1. He's going to be alongside me, and he'll pass me. Yeah, I didn't really make that difficult for him. So we dropped down into the 13th spot, and now it's just like, okay, I don't think we're going to get Blaney before the stage is over. Let's just get this thing back to the green-white checkered, get tires on this thing again, get fuel in it, and push hard, going into the 3rd and final stage. So as we come through, approaching at this point the final lap of stage 2. Absolute banger of a race this has already been, but I think the intensity is going to peak even further once we get into this final stage. Now, as you can see, Larson is getting closer to the back of the 12. I kind of fell off here in the last bit of this second stage, or in the last lap and a half or so. So at this point, I'm like, yep, let's just, keep the 8 car at least at bay and let this thing finish out. But we did have a bit of a resurgence here now on the final lap of the stage. We kind of ran back down Larson and Blaney as Shane Van Gisbergen's rounding the final couple of corners now, and after qualifying on pole, he was second in stage 1 to Christopher Bell, while in stage 2, SVG is going to win stage 2. That's 10 additional points to his, of course, leaderboard points position, and getting him closer to being in the chase as we are going to round the final couple of corners ourselves and wait for Ross Chastain to cross the line and bring out the yellow, and we'll be P13 here in stage number 2. So a lot of progress made. We haven't made any adjustments on the car. I'm really happy with how the car is driving, to be honest. So I didn't really need any adjustments at this point. You can see our tires are wearing out hard as we'll be pitting here. It'll be 14 laps to go, it looks like, once we go green. Chase Briscoe loses 3 spots in the pits.
You ready?
Here we go then. third and final stage is underway from Circuit of the Americas now, and it's going to be 13 laps to go. So it's a one-stop race. We will have to pit in on relaxed yellows. Odds are we will stay green to the end now as Kyle Busch checks up on the run into turn 1. We lunge one up the inside of Ryan Preece. Now Busch still my left rear, nearly into the back of the 1. Contact with the 12 very briefly. Clear into P12 we go, behind a side-by-side Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain. Larson's got the momentum, and we get alongside the Kubota number 1 as well as we head down into the S's. Wheel to wheel, you got to be so careful here. Briscoe wide as well. He checks up on the nose of the 1, but now I'm in the unpreferred spot of the track, and well, we're gonna go way wide here now as we go alongside Kyle Busch. We're gonna get hit with a corner cutting penalty, and now we have to stop and then get it fired up and get back going again. I'm sorry on that one. I'll make up for it.
3 wide.
You hear myself on the radio to the team just apologizing, and well, I just took a day that was getting so much better and made it really unfortunate now, and we are making contact with the 6th. We're in 24th now. The top 10's not out of the cards, honestly, considering the fact that we have a 13-lap stage. But obviously, I'm pretty disappointed now as I'm going to go for a lunge. I'm sure Joey Logano's not a fan of that. And unfortunately for him, I'm going to kind of use him up a little bit on the exit. But Logano's not going to have it. He's going to fight back right here and get back alongside me. And he's going to also get clear. So I'm like, all right, well, you know what? That's fair. So I'm just going to have to wait this one out and wait for the right opportunity again to be able to pass the Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang for the Penske Racing team. Great run out of the penultimate turn. Couldn't quite make anything happen, but right there, lap 13, he goes wide, leaves the door open for myself to get alongside. We're going to drag race here into the right-hander. Still going to be close quarters racing, and I know exactly what it's going to take here. I'm going to make the same move I did last lap, but this time I'm just going to make sure he can't get back alongside me on the exit, and we're just going to push really deep through the corner. There we go, clear for only 23rd. However, now we are going to be pitting around lap 16, lap 17, maybe coming to 18, and that's going to be, in the window of getting us to the end of this race. And I want to pit as soon as possible just because of the fact that we're now deep in traffic, and doing the undercut would definitely do us wonders in this race. Now, there's an interesting situation playing out that we need to be aware of. What a pass, by the way, on the 99 of Daniel Suarez, but there's another situation developing. So as you guys know, AI, they can always just save more fuel than the player can. So they'll be able to go longer than I can by 2 to 3 laps. But there's another scenario at play here. The cars that are in, 30th to 40th, they're so much slower than everybody else that they're saving even more fuel than everybody else in the field. So they're going to be able to stretch their field into the final 3 to 4 laps of this race, but they're going to be so far off the pace that everyone that's going to be pitting is going to be running them down, and then they're going to be catching slower cars, and that's going to condense the field into a very, very interesting dynamic. And I think that's going to be an opportunity that actually helps us get to the top 10 as we've now moved up into 19th behind the number 2 of Austin Cindric, and we're now lap 16. So we're not far away from making our pit stop as the 88 of SVG is trying to run away from the field as we're to the back of the 2 of Austin Cindric. Do I dare go for a move? Yes, we do. We show the nose, get to his door. He leaves plenty of room. Makes it pretty easy for us now to move up into P18 as we continue to carve our way through this field and try to get ourselves, a respectable result. This has obviously not gone the way we had hoped it would. With the corner cutting penalty there at the start of stage 3. Look at my rear tires now. They are burning off. And actually, there it is. There's the call. Pit right now. We still got 3 laps of field, but this would put us just barely inside the fuel window. So we will pit now, and we'll take 2 cans of fuel, and it's going to be really tight on fuel because when we get back to the line, it'll be 8 laps to go, I believe. So, yeah, this is going to be, we'll be 8 laps to go. We got 8 laps to fuel, so it's going to be tight. But we're not the only one pitting. I can see somebody on the track maps in has actually clipped the wall on pit entrance, and I can confirm actually it's the 24 of William Byron that is in the pit. So he's coming in here. We would come in, service this number 15 Junior Motorsports Boost Chevrolet, and it's going to be probably in the 15 to 16 second range, 15.8, and we'll get back on the racetrack. 4 tires. Let's go to the end of this race. 8 laps to go now, and now it's just 100% push from here on out and try to make this undercut work. We've got fresher tires than pretty well the entire field, and we're going to be able to have a lot stronger pace in these next 2 to 3 laps while we get ready to see other drivers come into the pits. So we know, of course, that some drivers, everyone pretty well can go another 2 laps or so, but SVG's coming in right now. So Shane Van Gisbergen is not waiting around. He's coming in saying, hey, I don't want somebody to undercut me. So as we head down the front straightaway, a lot of cars come in, and who are we going to be coming out around? Denny Hamlin right there in the number 11. I'm pretty sure he was in front of us when we pitted, so definitely undercut working here as it will move around the outside of the number 11, and Hamlin as well. I mean, really, I mean, he's on a bit fresher tires, but I'm just going to rely on my road course expertise and skill set to just, you know, manage that gap and drive away, and we immediately start putting a gap to that National Debt Relief number 11 of Denny Hamlin. Now, as Chris Buescher briefly takes the lead of this race, but he would come into the pits, and now we were up into the top 25, passing Austin Cindric, and up ahead I see Ross Chastain. But here's where things are going to get interesting. Those cars in the bottom kind of 10 positions that are saving way more fuel than everybody else, but they're so much slower. Well, all the cars that have pitted are now getting combined with those slower cars, and this is what's going to open up the opportunity for me to still maybe recover to a points finish. Kyle Busch now pits from the lead, and Alex Bowman is, I believe, the lone driver that's kind of in that top 20 that's yet to pit. As we're going to roll up to the back of Chad Fincham. Look at this. We're going to get to the back of Chastain and Blaney. These are top 10 guys right here, so we've got a very real chance to go after a top 10 as we'll pass the 66 there of Fincham and continue to just grind our way back forward to try and finish this race as strong as we can. Caught a bit of that curve there, but we're all good now as we're about to re-enter the top 20, but there is a bunch of slower cars, and look at this. We're right to the back of the one now as Alex Bowman is going to give up the lead and come into the pits. Here we go for a move up the inside of Chastain, and even getting alongside Blaney. Left the door wide open. We'll clear the 1. We won't clear the 12. He gets back in front of us immediately now, and now we just wait for the rest of this fuel, you know, and pit situation to play out right on the back of the 12. He's trying to put pressure on the back of the 7 of Haley, and Blaney, I'm going to make a move. No, he's going to go defensive as we head into the final turn. Now coming to just 4 laps to go here in COTA. No way. I just got hit with another stop-go course cutting penalty, and unfortunately it checks up Chastain and everybody else behind us, and that might be it. I just ruined my own race twice, as once all was said and done with the pit cycle for the leaders, at least it was no longer SVG leading. It's now the 20 of Bell. There's Bowman coming out just in front of us now, and all of a sudden we're in this absolute dogfight. 3 wide contact with Cindric and Wallace. We get through, we stay ahead, and the intensity is starting to peak in these closing laps now, but here's what's going to keep us in it. We still got pace, and another thing, that those slower cars, they still haven't pitted, so we are very quickly running that group of cars that we were just with before that penalty. We're running them back down as we're going to get to the back of the 11 of Hamlin. A bit of a shot to the bumper. That's kind of like a, hey, get out of my way. Honestly, I kind of want to come through here now, but I know I'm going to be able to pass this 11 and just momentarily now as we're burning these tires off this car, just trying to hang on now as we come through the S's with 3 to go. The fuel light comes on, so we're going to be a little bit close on fuel, but now we have gotten to the back of the 7 of Haley, so that's where we were pretty well earlier. So we're basically back to where we left off just because of these guys, you know, being slower, and now they're going to be coming into the pits. We might have some issues here. No, we're all good. We stay clear. I thought there might have been a crash. Now big run on the 11 of Hamlin, and now Haley holding him up allows me to get alongside the 7. Elliott's going wide. Chastain loses a spot to the 12 of Blaney. Now Elliott's under attack from the 12 there for Penske. Custer's in the way up there. Gregson as well in the way, and everybody is scrapping this thing out as we're going to have a big run on the back of the Kubota Chevrolet, and we're going to go alongside now. Big dive, 3 wide with Elliott and Blaney. Major contact. We just kind of bulldoze our way through that one. The 41's in the way of the 9. We're going to try and pick him off, but as we go through the sweeper, we go wide, having to lift to make sure we avoid a penalty there, and now we're going to continue side by side with Blaney and get alongside the 9 as well into the penultimate corner, coming to 2 to go. Bell leads over Van Gisbergen. We clear the 9. Custer's pitting and others. Everyone that hasn't pitted is pitting now. Elliott lunges one up the inside. Contact. We slide. Elliott gets physical, and he's going through for the position as we drop down to 15th right now, but where we'll end up settling out is there's one more car in the pits, We end up in P12 as we go defensive on the 12 of Blaney on the run into turn 1, and we hold him off, but here comes Hamlin firing one up the right side into the corner, but we're going to have the run off the corner. There we go, and we settle into the 12th position behind the 9, and at this point, I had nothing left. I had given it everything I had to get to where we are, and the fact that we're in 12th right now is a borderline miracle, and now we have to make sure we can get to the end of this race on feel. So as we come through now to the final lap for Christopher Bell that is underway, and now for myself, you can see my rear tires are burnt off. 14, 13%, 9% on the left rear. And I was losing a heaps of time to Chase Elliott at this point now, and I was just bringing it home. An estimated 0 laps of fuel. We're going to run out of gas at any moment as Hamlin and Bowman are pressuring me from behind, so I'm trying to make sure we stay ahead of them and bring this thing home in P12. Christopher Bell, he gets the best of Shane Van Gisbergen, and Christopher Bell wins in COTA, the first win of the season for the 20 team, as we just really just trying to bring it home at this point now and hold off Hamlin, who is bringing a charge here in the closing moments now, just panicking at this point, like, please don't run out of field, just get this thing home, as we got just 2 corners to go. The fuel is still picking up in the car. We should be able to hang on at this point now as we come through the penultimate turn. 1 corner to go, and it's a 90-degree left-hander. We got enough of a gap, settle this thing down, get through the corner, and we are going to do it. P12 in an absolutely insane race here in Circuit of the Americas. That was unbelievable from start to finish. So much physicality, it was unreal, and I wonder what happened to Van Gisbergen, because he lost by 10 seconds to Christopher Bell and actually ended up 3rd behind Chris Buescher as well when he was leading at the time of the pit stops, as you see the rest of your finishing order. So you'll see the points, but starting in Phoenix, we're going to start to actually have custom graphics for the points because of the chase format. We are following the IRL format where there's 15 points now for a win extra of 55 instead of 40. So anyone that's won a race between, you know, Byron or Ty Dillon or Bell, just imagine they have 15 extra points added onto their name right now, and starting next episode, you will see that reflected in the graphics that I am going to make. What a race. We take on Phoenix next episode with an IndyCar doubleheader weekend. I will see you guys then. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.
I'm stuck in my head, need an exit.